Okay, we have a great honor here to have from band Amaranthe, Elise, Jake and Olof.
Moi.
Moi.
So, you are releasing your third studio album and you will also tour to support Within Temptation. So you seem to have quite a busy rest of the year.
Yeah, and the one before that.
Yeah, and the one before that. Since we started this band, we've more or less been living in a tour bus, so yeah.
So the new album will be out soon, and I read somewhere that you, Olof, have said that it won't necessarily follow the basic Amaranthe style, but instead it would be like a different and bolder one.
Yeah, I mean, it does follow the basic Amaranthe style. That's kind of what it does, but in general, it changes up things a little bit more than between the first and the second record. And I think it was necessary at this point because the first two albums, I will not say that they were overly similar, but there are definitely, you know, strong similarities, and that's exactly the way that we wanted to do it. You know, up everything 20%, but with this record, we wanted to, you know, really create something new and fresh. So I think we really succeeded with that.
Yeah, and we don't want to scare our fans. Our fans will hear that it's Amaranthe from the second when they push play, of course, but we've grown a bit in the process of writing the music, absolutely. And
every time a journalist mentions this, he gets really nervous.
No, I think it's we've grown into our roles during those two first albums, and now it just made it a little bit more clear, I think, what parts we're playing.
Absolutely.
My role is now to make coffee.
Yeah, that role is quite clear.
I think we're going in our
I would agree, yes.
Yeah. Comfort zone instead.
I like making coffee.
How did you describe your sound?
Yeah, I think it's very much up to the contrast, the combination of the genres, but also, you know, the contrast between the singers and heavy guitars and beautiful little keyboards and all that stuff. So I think that's the basic Amaranthe sound. Also, you know, catchy big choruses, heavy breakdowns. Again, you know, it's all about the contrast, I would say.
All of the best in one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like ABBA, but newer.
So
like hamburgers on a cake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you think it's hard to define the genre which you are belonging?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's always hard to define, like, is there actually ham on the pizza or is there pizza with the ham? It's a philosophical question, I guess.
So you have three vocalists. There's the pure, clean female voice and the male voice, and then there's a growling. So how hard it is to write songs with all those three parts so that they are equal in the song? Or
I think it's more easy than to write songs for yourself, actually, because I've been trying writing songs for, I don't know, just by myself, and I kind of miss, you know, like, oh, here I want this voice, and here I can hear, like, you know, here I want the male voice, and I can't do them myself. So I find it very stimulating to have three voices in mind when you write, actually.
And I know that you can actually do it yourself because I heard you growl on the demos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So one of my favorites from the Finnish metal genre is Arch Enemy. So there's a growling you can.
Cool. Yeah.
You can do.
Yeah, it's not that hard as you think, actually. I think every person can learn to growl.
Yeah, but is it good for your sound, your voice?
If you do it with the support, it's actually not hurting your throat.
Bring three friends and it's okay.
So if you just feel, I don't know, but of course anger helps. And you just roar. And you're gonna, maybe you can release an album with yourself growling next year.
So both of your previous albums have reached higher in the Finnish charts than in the Swedish charts.
Right.
So that being said, I dare to say that Finland is known as a big metal country, and Sweden is. You have great metal bands, but more known around the world, Sweden is from the pop music. So is it harder for the metalish band to break out in Sweden with a new record? Or?
I think it's a bit unfair to compare it to Finland, because Finland is, like, you know, per person it's probably the most amount of metalheads in the whole world. Yeah. Actually, Sweden is probably like number 2 or something like that, because there's always been, you know, a very strong rock scene in general. I mean, not only metal, but also, you know, hard rock music like Europe, all the way to, you know, In Flames and Hammerfall and that whole thing. So I think there's, you know, a precursor for making it bigger, and now you can see that with Sabaton as well. And some of the biggest bands from Sweden ever have been metal bands. So
yeah, exactly. I was about to say that we have a lot of pop artists that are really big in Sweden, but compared to In Flames and Sabaton and bands like that, they are nothing in the rest of the world. Maybe you hear them here in Finland, and maybe that you hear them in Norway and Denmark, but other than that, In Flames and such, they are bringing in a lot of money to the Swedish government.
Yeah. So, is there any Finnish metal or some other bands which you value or respect?
Yeah, there's. I mean, Finland has always been a strong metal country. So, and I mean, classics like. I mean, I pretty much grew up listening to, you know, all the big ones: Sonata Arctica, and Nightwish, and Children of Bodom.
Yeah, and Stratovarius, of course.
Yeah, Strato, of course.
We had a fantastic tour with them. And
Strato.
Yeah, Strato. There we go.
It's a good band, Strato from Texas.
Yeah. And Lauri Porra.
Lauri Porra, he's from Texas.
He's from Texas, exactly.
So, what do you think about the Swedish metal? You just named a few bands like In Flames and At the Gates, and of course the term Göteborg metal comes from the.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great to know that without a lot of the Gothenburg metal bands, none of these big bands from the US would never have existed, because like when you do hear interviews with these bands, they all of them say that we listen to the At the Gates, we listen to In Flames, and stuff like that, and it's really cool to have that in our own hometown. So and we would never had been here either if it weren't for these bands.
So you have probably been on the backstages with many Finnish bands also. So which band is the best to hang out with and have a few drinks after the show or before the show?
I would say first Stratovarius and Santa Cruz.
Yeah, Santa Cruz. Yeah. Guys as well.
Those young guys are.
They probably never remember meeting us the day after though. But
next question I have asked a couple of times when chatting with bands who have a female singer. So I think the best bands with the female singers come from Finland, Sweden, and Netherlands.
Yeah.
All of them actually come from those.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, do you agree that?
I think so. I had a theory a long time ago that it's more not so much fun to do here besides sitting inside and look at television and get inspiration and start to sing and practice and then write music.
Exactly.
If I lived in the US, I probably wouldn't. I mean, I would probably be a cheerleader or something.
Yeah, or just to stay on the beach all day.
Yeah.
I mean, like for Sweden and Finland, we are more or less covered in darkness all year long, and you know that's the only thing you can do is to do something creative. Otherwise, you fucking, excuse me, kill yourself. Yeah. So you have to do something. Yeah. And as Elise said, if we were living in the States, we would probably just be down on Miami.
Hockey player.
Yeah, I believe hockey player.
Cheerleader.
And then,
I don't know, Olaf. What would you do? Pool.
I'll be out of a job, I guess.
In between jobs.
In between
or maybe
jobs.
the president.
Or the
I would
president.
be the president of the United States
Yes,
of America.
you can.
Yeah, yes I can. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yes, yeah.
Tuomas Holopainen from Nightwish said that for that what might be the reason is that the bands set good examples. Yeah. So and they make the record labels and also the crowd very interested in them because they are really great, easy to listen bands.
There you go, Jake.
Yeah, exactly. No, or it just depends on your taste. I don't know.
No, but I think there's a very strong tradition of that here in Finland with the female-fronted bands, and of course, like Thomas said himself, that I think that Nightwish set a really good example, you know, back in I think '97 or whatever. So if there's something that is really successful within one style in one country, there's going to be a million followers, and I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a good thing for sure. I think it's a very important thing to not take yourself too seriously. Of course, we're super serious about our music and to make it as good as possible. But at the end of the day, music and the live show is supposed to be entertainment.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be fun, and you want the audience to be brought into it. And also, you know, for me personally, I think it's the same thing for my co-composers as well, that it's very, very fun to play around with metalheads because they are very sensitive about their metal. And we respect that, but it's also really, you know, fun to create a song like Electro Heart and watch everybody become really pissed about it.
No, but I think it's, personally I feel like it's important to also show metalheads that it's okay to actually
have fun
and move around, and I don't see why you can't dance, for example, to metal music. It's very, you know, it's very
rhythmical,
rhythmical and all that. So
especially metalheads, especially in Finland actually and Sweden.
I've been more happy lately, like, you know, after Amaranthe than before. So I think it makes effect. It affected me at least.
Okay, thank you very much and have a nice gig this time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Keep peace.
Thank you.
Keep peace. Taskolom.
Taskolom.